call this meeting to order. It's a meeting of the council, City Hall. This will be an open meeting and notice has been given to the public at least 24 hours prior to the meeting by forwarding the complete agenda to the Oconto County Reporter and all news media who have requested the same, as well as by posting copies of the complete agenda were available for inspection at the office of the City Administrator. Roll call.
Mayor Cliff Martin.
Here.
Daryl Anderson.
Here.
Kim Bronikowski.
Here.
Ron Dahl.
Here.
Dee Donlevy.
Here.
Bob LeBrecht.
Here.
Casey Zoll.
Here.
Lori Stenstrup.
Here.
Dan Zeller.
Here.
Attorney Calvert.
Here.
Okay, moving on to number 3, invocation and pledge of allegiance by Alderperson Daryl Anderson.
Lord, please grant this governing body the wisdom to make wise decisions on behalf of this community. Help this council to work together and unite in these decisions to reach our mutual goals. In God we trust. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moving on to number 4, approval of the agenda as stated. Ron made motion. Bob second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried for the approval of agenda as stated. Number 5, approval of council minutes from 7/15/2025 and joint PFC and council minutes from 7/16/2025. Everybody had a chance to look at it. Any changes, corrections?
I'll make motion to approve the minutes from both meetings.
I'll second it.
Dan second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried to approve the council minutes from 7/15/2025 and the joint PFC and council minutes from 7/16/2025. Okay, number 6, correspondence. Okay. I do have something to mention. I've had some concerns about council members wearing caps during the meetings. I can't tell you not to, I'm just relaying that to you folks. So. Correspondence.
I just have a couple things. I didn't have my report at the Cal meeting, so I just have a couple updates. We had our first Old Hospital Ad Hoc Committee last Wednesday, and it went extremely well. We're really excited about the energy that's being put into this project. Chairperson Teresa Bake has already been in contact with multiple developers who are scheduled to tour the building, one of which is a really experienced in historical renovations, so that's exciting. We're waiting for the results of the recent asbestos study that was done this month, so they should hopefully have that by their next meeting, but it's so far going really well. 2026 budgets are in process. They're going to be going to their committee meetings for their September meetings. Fire department union contract negotiations start next month. And we just met with McClone, our insurance company, for our health insurance rates. They said we should know in September what that rate increase is going to look like, and then we can decide to stay with them or go to market. And that's all I have.
Okay, any other correspondence? Jeremy?
Yeah, Cliff, I wasn't here last week of this, so I'll just give you my department report.
Okay.
Start with Parks Department. All the parks got pressure washed besides City Park. Casey had did that a couple months ago, but the girls got all the equipment and all the parks pressure washed. We put new borders out at City Park. New wood chips were put into that park, also Sharp Park and Bond Park, so a lot of compliments on those 3 areas. Copiculture, as of July 14th, we had 794 visitors from Wisconsin and 11 other states. They've got a larger event going on there tomorrow with multiple people coming from around the area as a special event. So that's going on tomorrow, I think starting around 10 o'clock. Campground, not much to report on the campground. No complaints. If there is complaints, they're just kind of minor complaints that we deal with every year, but for the most part, I had a schedule out at the campground. Harbor Commission, we had the Sturgeon Bay, or not Sturgeon Bay, the Sheboygan Walleye Club tournament this past weekend. They had 85 boats. A little rough weather, so I think there was 5 or 6 boats that didn't go out, but overall it was really it was a good, successful tournament. Saturday there was 2 smaller tournaments, the Larry Banky Jr. tournament, that was about 15 boats, and then the Fallen Warriors had about 25 boats go out right before them. Typically they take a pro, and then that professional takes out either 2 or 3 veterans with them. Typically they launch by about 5:45 and they're back in by noon, and they have a little get together at City Docks. So that went really well also, and I guess kind of avoided some weather mishaps, so both events really went really well. The AIM tournament is also this weekend. Not quite as big as the past. Typically in the past you would see about 100 to 125 boats for the AIM tournament. When I talked to the AIM director today, they've got 65 boats. He'll call me with any changes, so that's going to be a little bit smaller, but it is a 2-day fishing tournament, so they're going to be here launching out on Friday and launching out on Saturday. So you'll still see quite a bit of activity out by the harbor. We are ahead of schedule at the harbor as far as revenues go. We're about $7,000 to $8,000 above budget than for our slip rentals. As far as our daily and transit, it's the same thing, so that's good news to report from the harbor also. Public Works concerns, I did have a meeting with the DNR about 3 or 4 months ago. I kind of discussed a little bit, if you do remember. We had an inspection done at a transfer station on our old well cap from the old dump site. They're making new mandates out at that site, which is gonna make us go out to Badger Labs for all of our monitoring requirements, which is obviously gonna increase the cost of our monitoring requirements that are going on right now. So typically right now we're paying about $6,000, $8,000 a year to do all the monitoring requirements out up there. With the new standards they're enforcing on us, you're looking at about $22,000 now. So that'll start this quarter, and then next year that'll be the cost for the entire season for those monitoring requirements out there. We're hoping that once we put these new requirements in, and we actually have Badger Lab that are taking care of that we're hoping in the future that we can get those down to either biannual reporting or either annual reporting, which obviously will cut those costs into half, and I'll just keep you updated on what's going on with those. We have had multiple citations for obviously a few properties that are concerned around the city. Those are in court right now. I did send a daily citation out for one over on Call Ave that's concerned. They'll be receiving that this week. That'll be a daily citation. They did receive a citation a few months ago. Did not show up for their court date. So again, those are in the court system right now. And if you have any questions, I can take those right now.
Any questions for Jeremy? Okay. We will move on to number 7, public input. Everybody gets 5 minutes time. You have to get up, announce your name and where you live. So,
I'm Peter Durr. I live here in the city limits, just over by the old hospital. My wife and I also own PM Liquidation. The reason why we're here today is to address the shipping containers in concern. I came to a couple meetings earlier this year. I want to say it was January, February, March time. We were still discussing the outcomes of shipping containers. We've had our shipping containers since long before the permit issues and abundance of them popped up in the city. We got our permits, followed the regulations. Over a year later, we get a warning saying we have to get rid of it. Our shipping container is federally inspected for international shippings. We get the warning and it says that we have to get rid of it within 60 days due to unsanitary conditions. So a little bit of research, there's Wisconsin state statutes that we are eligible for a variance. I requested that through 2 people and I was turned down saying that there would be no variances eligible. In doing so, that's gonna force our business out of Ocala. We were told that we would have other storage options. That's not an option. We use forklifts, we have merchandise. I've looked into storage units. There's some right next to the Shiloh by the Stonewash. I can't operate a forklift on gravel. It's not practical for our business. And in the Wisconsin state statutes, it states that you're eligible for a variance if it causes a hardship on your business. It's pretty self-explanatory to not have one inventory, to not be able to have a forklift and unload trucks. There's no way possible to continue to run a business in this town. We've brought a ton of business to this town. We have people that come all the way from the valley, all the way from the UP, they shop here, but it also benefits the community. I mean, we've donated over $1,000 to the Shop of the Cop. Not saying that, that's gonna stop, but our business cannot operate in this town without a shipping container, and we were given 60 days to get rid of it, which is not practical. I've asked about other options, and I was just told to find other storage. I don't understand why it's unsanitary, being that it's federally inspected for international shipping, and it's stamped right on the front. I get if there was other regulations, if you guys said that I had to put up a fence around it so that it's not an eyesore, but 95% of the people that drive past my building don't even see that it's there. So this has been just quite a pain. I would guess these guys are just for the same ideas with shipping containers. If there's a different solution to it, if you gotta put a privacy fence with a gate, so be it. But at the way things are going, our business will leave this town before the shipping container does. And that's obviously not what we want, but it's not practical. So I just wanted to address that. I don't know what's gonna happen with the outcome. Obviously, there's more stuff to address on the shipping containers, but I don't want it to have to be a legal battle. I don't want to have to get statues and bring attorneys and things like that into it. We're just trying to find a resolution so that we can continue to support the community and keep our business going. So that's it.
Thank you. Any other public input?
My name is Scott Exerly, 520 Adams, O'Connell. I have a shipping container also. For me, it's not, I'm just gonna add on what he has, but my shipping container was approved by Joe, the whole city, everything like that. It's in a nice area. It's nobody even hardly knows I have it. I understand you guys don't like it because you feel it's unsightly or whatever, or you have a problem with a certain person in the city with that stuff. But my big deal is I've got 4 years of stuff in there, and 60 days is not enough. Just is not enough. The market right now, I've already started cleaning out some other stuff like that. I've been working with, I contacted five companies. I've had my land surveyed. I've been working with Joe about putting another storage building on my property, whatever like that. But this stuff takes time. I've contacted five different companies of putting up another storage building, just for my records or whatever, and this sort of thing. But in the middle of July, you're really not going to get too many people, companies they're booked, they're whatever. And so what's going to happen with me is I'm going to empty that container and it's going to be all out in the front lawn because I have no place to put it, none. Plus I have to sell it, and the market is flooded. I've tried selling it, and the market is completely flooded with these shipping containers, and I just can't get rid of it right now. I mean, I did talk to Ian Wozansky out at Ralph's Auto Salvage, and he might be interested in it. That's about the only bite I've really gotten on it. But I just don't understand how something can be approved and then you just rip the carpet out from underneath you. This was approved. It was approved. Everyone had this approved. I don't understand where there's no grandfather clause in it with what we've got. It's like someone going, getting some building plans, and they build their house, whatever, and then all of a sudden the council members don't like how it looks, and then all of a sudden say, well, we don't like the floor plans of this house, you're gonna have to rip it down. This is about the same way I feel about it. I'm not up in arms about it, because I am in the process of building another structure and working with Joel and the city or whatever, trying to get this approved and everything. So, but I just can't do it in 60 days. And one other thing too is, from what I hear, the letters didn't go out to whoever. You said this is the whole city of Oconto, right? And it was all zones? Was it all zones? All zones. Well, the letters didn't go out to all zones. I know that, so, I don't know, understand why that is. I felt that was getting targeted at first, but, I don't think so, but, so I don't know, that's just my 2 cents worth, I guess. I would just appreciate some latitude in the 60-day thing, for sure. You know, that's about all I have to say about that.
Okay, thank you, Scott.
Yep.
Any other public input? Yes,
Mike Felt, excuse me, 172 Luby. First of all, I'd like to thank Daryl for his invocation, because that kind of helps make my point here about the wisdom to make, for the council to make decisions that are in the best interest of the city and the citizens. And these two gentlemen are perfect examples also of, was the decision that was made for the shipping containers best for all the citizens? It just seems common sense would say, we get the people together that have the containers and we discuss with them what issues they have and how we can help them and hopefully save their business. And it just, from hearing them, it's just like black and white, you know, here it is, take it or leave it, type thing. But that's not the real reason for my comments, but it's my understanding that tonight is the first night many of the council members have seen information regarding the municipal court decision in regards to the yard. Now, everybody's well aware of everything that's gone on with the yard in the city, and it's been going on far too long. This decision was made, and now it's my understanding that it's been appealed to the circuit court. My question is, who made that decision? Not these people that represent us, but somebody else. Now, it would make sense to me that these people be informed so they know what's going on to help make those decisions, wise decisions. And what benefit does the city get, do the citizens get, by going to circuit court with this? The Souls have closed the yard. They're in the process of moving their equipment out of the feed mill and relocating their distillery with intent to sell that building. The city's basically won the war. The Souls are gonna leave town. So that's unfortunate, but it's the reality. So continuing this lawsuit, I really don't see the sense in what benefit that brings to the city. It likely would be some sort of negotiated settlement with some sort of fine possibly, or it could just be dismissed. With all the time and effort that's gone into this over the past several years, does that really make sense to continue that, or just say it's over, let's move on? Which, in my opinion, would be the correct thing to do. Thank you.
thank you. Any other public input? Any other public input?
I do have a question. Pertaining to the shipping containers, I ended up missing the planning commission meeting that they made the decision, because initially it was decided that there would be, if I'm correct, 2 zones that would allow the shipping container. And that's when I was out sick with COVID, and some between now and then, the decision was made to not allow any in any zones. So my question being, and I don't know the legalities of this, but would they not comply under existing non-conforming? Because they're already in place, they went through the procedures of getting the permits, even though we were still in the middle of deciding this. So do they not have rights under the existing non-conforming to allow those containers to be there?
No, they don't. It was a decision by the council that it applied to all shipping containers, whether permitted or unpermitted. There was no pre-existing exemption to anyone. That was a decision by the council at that time. That's what Joe and Jeremy have been operating under.
Okay, yep.
Right. Any other public input?
I just have one last question then. So how do we go about, in our Wisconsin state statutes, it says that you're allowed a variance if it causes a burden on your business, things like that. I have email documents saying that I can't even apply for a variance, and I also have our permit, things like that, that steps back. So as Scott had said here, if you built a house 100 years ago and it has twisted fuses, can someone step in and say that their house has to be bulldozed because it's not up to code? I guess that's where I don't understand. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me that we had our permit, we did everything that we were supposed to do, we got it up to the standards, and now because of a decision of 12 people in front of us, or how many are on the council, that's gonna drive our business to the next county over where they've asked us to move there. I don't see how that's beneficial to the town, the people, the things that we bring to this community, and the things that we actually can do to help support the community. I don't see how that is in the best interest of this town.
I
Okay.
have something I'd like to add to, please. So the
State your name.
notice was.
State-
Never state your name.
State, could you stand up and state your name, please?
Melissa Dirk, I own PM Liquidation, I live on Water Street. So the reason that we got the notice was to prevent it from becoming a dangerous, unsafe, unsanitary object on the property. With our QC check on the container, it's good until May of 2026. Will we at least be able to use it until that time and get it removed before then?
What she means by the QC check is that's federally inspected with the government, so that way it's used for international shipping. I could put that in a boat and ship it across the country, but it doesn't meet the county standards or the city standards to have it sitting on my slab outside of my business.
I would recommend that you meet with Joe and Jeremy on what a time frame is.
I asked
With
him and
regard-
he stopped responding to my emails. I
Okay.
asked him a couple of questions, so I mean,
Jeremy?
Well, I guess I'm the one who asked for this to be on the agenda because the one concern I had, obviously because the council did make a change in the ordinance. Of course, the plan commission originally had stated the 2 containers allowed just in the 2 zones as long as they were painted in a timely fashion and they matched the building facade. That was which originally we kind of decided on, and then of course you guys had changed it to nothing. And one of the biggest concerns I had from the beginning was the amount of time that we were allowing businesses, because again, I just feel that if you're a business owner, and we're all busy, and if you're working 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week, and then you're trying to empty your inventory out of those containers, I think we should be working with them. That's just my opinion on that. I just think that if they're full and if Joe and I can work with them, if that's the decision you guys want, I'd rather work with them and try to get them out of there in a timely fashion. I understand that you don't want them to sit there for years. I do get that, but I just think that at least give us the ability to work with them a little bit longer than the 60 days. But if it's the 60 days, then it's the 60 days, but that's obviously your guys' decision.
Okay. Thank you, Jeremy. Any other comments? Kim?
Is this something that we can discuss?
It's on the agenda.
It's on the agenda.
So,
Yeah,
we
we're-
can move past.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on to number 8, approval of consent agenda. A, approval of temporary alcohol beverage license application from Oconto Girls Softball Association for Sheboygan Walleye Club Battle on the Bay on Sunday, August 17th, 2025. Approval of temporary alcohol beverage license application from Oconto Area Chamber of Commerce for the Harvest Fest 2025 on Saturday, September 27th. Approval of proclamation for National Sea Tracks Think Train Week. Approval of appointment of Kelly Gilbertson to the Farnsworth Public Library Board for a partial 3-year term ending July 1st, 2027. Roll call.
We need a Motion in a
Motion.
second.
A motion.
Motion to accept all consent agenda items.
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Daryl Anderson,
Aye.
Kim Bronikowski,
Aye.
Ron Dahl,
Aye.
Dee Don Levy,
Aye.
Bob LeBrecq,
Aye.
Casey Soul, Lori Stenstra,
Aye.
Dan Zeller.
Aye. Okay, moving on to number 9, discussion, action, recommendation on the following old unfinished business. A, storage container removal deadline extensions. Comments from any of the council?
Well, I agree with Jeremy that 60 days is not enough time, and we need to work with them and not against them to, we're already losing the business. They're already out the door, so that's already a black eye. And now we're gonna turn the screws on them by making them do it in 60 days, and including the other couple there. They need time. We can't just drop the hammer on them, get it out, or we're gonna hit you, what, $317 a day? That's madness. And I think we need to be a little more flexible.
Thank you, Casey. Kim?
I'd like to obviously add more time to that too. As the business owners have stated, it's not enough time for them. I think as business owners in our city, we should be working with them, not against them.
Anybody else? Dee?
I guess I'm extremely frustrated that I feel council's being very stringent on this. Especially when this came before the planning commission and they agreed at that time that we would allow 2 areas to allow this in the best interest, and we came up with a plan. If they adhered to that plan, if they painted it and kept stuff in place, and then like I said, I don't know what happened or what the concerns were that got raised up, that it went from 2 down to nothing. So now we have a predicament here. We've got people that are utilizing this and did the right things right. They came before council, even before we had everything, the ordinance in place, asking for a permit to do the right things right, and now I feel like they're being penalized for it.
Anybody else? Dan?
I guess I can see giving more time, but I think there also has to be a set time. It can't drag on and on and on. And then there has to be some kind of penalty if it drags on for another 60 days after the 60 days. Say we give them another 60 days, nothing's done yet. I believe then the fine should go back to the original date instead of just dragging on and on and on.
My recommendation would be to allow Jeremy and Joe to work with them. And if it takes more than 60 days, I just feel it's fair, it's a little more fair to them folks to be able to move that stuff out, and that's my opinion. Go ahead, Ron.
I also agree that I think that Jeremy and Joe should be, but when they go and talk to these people, there should be a written plan by them of when something's gonna be done. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
And and then some of the stuff they've been talking to some of these people with them for years already.
Sure. Jeremy, you had your hand up, or?
Well, I guess just giving Joe and I the flexibility to at least meet with them, whether it's one-on-one, and come up with a plan of action, and we can always report back every month just to make sure that you guys are okay with the plans that we have set in place with the business owner. And then I guess at that time, if you're not happy, then you can let us know what direction you want us to take as far as the enforcement goes. But I think trying to work with them, I think, is a better way to go. I mean, we do that already with safe and non-sanitary conditions throughout the city now. I mean, you can tell in a few residents around the city that, if we work with them a little bit, they're gonna work back with us. If we just send them a daily citation right away, then it just seems like we don't get anywhere. They don't show up for court, then it's in court for 60 days, and then we go back. They still don't do anything. We write another citation. If we can work with them one-on-one, it just seems like we get a little bit further sometimes. I know there's times where citations are the only way to go, but I think just trying to work with them one-on-one and trying to get it settled before it gets to that point, I think is a better way to go.
Any other comments from council? Lori?
I do have a question I'm confused on for the storage containers. Now, when we got all the paperwork on it, we were told there was only one permit that was issued. Is that correct? Or was there more than one?
Well, I think Joe had issued one, he had issued one before, years ago, and that would have been to Scott.
Okay, so there were
The
totally
one
two?
I would have issued would have been to Pima.
Okay, so there's
when they were
only
allowed.
two of the businesses in town that had them permitted. The rest
Then-
were just all brought with.
Correct. Then I'm aware of, unless Joe had issued some, years back, but I don't think he did.
Okay.
But that would be a Joe question.
Okay. Dan?
Wasn't Cobussen, the bus place out there, had a storage unit? I thought that one was,
Because it was on wheels and it was movable, so it was a little bit different, but
because I think,
according to Joe.
I thought the paperwork we got in the beginning was only the P&M and the Cobussen. I didn't know about Scott's.
Yeah, I can't speak for Joe. I would have been part of that permit process. The only permit that I would have done would have been for Pima. The other ones would have been done through Joe. So.
Daryl, you had your hand up first.
I was just wondering, if we got a couple of them that were permitted, I can understand, giving them some time working with them. The ones that just dragged them in here and just put them on their lots and filled them up with no permission, no permits, no nothing. I mean, do they deserve the same thing? I guess.
Well, I think we got to treat them equally. If you're gonna give
Permits, then.
certain ones and work with them, I think you got to work with everybody. Bob had his up before you, Ron.
Basically, Gerald just said what I was gonna say. There's a gray area there for the people that did it right and got a permit. We worked with Joe and Jeremy, fine, there should be an extension. For the people that didn't do it right, that just put these permits on there, I think there's gotta be a plan that we have to put forward for them also, so that we don't go through this again. I mean, some of these places have more than one. They have more than two. So there has to be something here where if you've done the process right, then we work with you. But if you haven't, then there has to be a plan for that also.
Well, again, I think
I understand
if we let
should be treated equal, but at the same time, they did not do what they were supposed to do. So we're rewarding people who didn't do something right.
Ron.
And then, the thing I'm leaning to is that we're gonna give Jeremy and Joe the authority to do what they do. Well, then they know who has the permits and who don't.
Right.
The ones that didn't, it's up to them to say, okay, no, you're 60 days or you're 60 days. And that'll be it. But it would be up to them.
I agree. If we're going to allow them to discuss it with each individual, then let them work with the individuals and come to a resolution on how soon they can get them out. If they need extension, let's leave it up to Jeremy and Joe to give it to them. I mean, they're the department heads, let them work with them. Anybody else?
Do we need a motion on that?
Yes,
please.
Lori.
Can I ask, Jeremy, do you know the people that have talked to you about this and like the new individuals too? Have they started? Have you guys started the process? Has it been going or is like nothing been done yet since they received the letter?
Well, since Joe sent the letters out, I
Yep.
mean, we received phone calls, but as far as any progress goes, we haven't had any progress. I think just the biggest complaint that we're receiving, and obviously the one complaint is not enough time.
Okay.
And obviously the second complaint would be they're just not happy, they gotta get rid of the container.
I just didn't know if there was any moving forward progression from any of them.
Yeah, and I know I've talked with a couple individuals. I talked with Scott, and Scott had mentioned in public input about a few businesses not getting those letters. I did talk to Joe about that, you know, because Joe had drafted, we got the letters drafted, I signed it along with Joe. And I do know that they did go out to everyone. Now, whether or not they, you know, they got lost in the mail or they got sent back, but I do know that they did go out to anybody that did have a shipping container. There was a couple
They
of
all
big
went
ones that
out,
came
yeah.
out because we found a couple that were, one in a residential area and one, I believe, somewhere else. But I do know that they all did go out. So we
Do you
can follow
remember
up
how
on
many
that
that
too.
was that 11? 9? 9 of them? 11?
I don't know.
I believe it was 9.
9? That's what I'm thinking, that's what I'm remembering.
Yes, Casey?
Pete, going back to the state statute that you were talking about.
Don't ask questions of the audience, please. That's not appropriate. We're in council now. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Need a motion? Need a motion to basically, for Jeremy and Joe to work with all the people that have the shipping containers and come up with a resolution.
I have one more question. Do we have any kind of open-ended time frame? Are we talking years? Are we talking months?
Well, I don't think
Are we?
I don't think you guys are going to be happy with yours. So.
Yeah.
I think just allowing Joe and I to bring them in as an individual and talk to them and come to some type of an agreement and just report back to you. And then at that point, if you're not happy with the agreement we've got set forth, then we can move in a different direction at that time. But I think for us to allowing us to do that and then just reporting back to you every council meeting on how those individual meetings are going, I think is a good way to go.
Do you know, can they be removed in wintertime, or is that like something that can't be done?
Well, I'm sure we can. I mean, it's just a matter of them finding a home for those shipping containers. I think the biggest, that was another concern, is that trying to get rid of those containers, and where do you get rid of them? Who's gonna take them from you? You know, as Scott stated, the market is, flooded with those things. So trying to find a home for them, or I guess taking them to a junkyard and just disposing of them, but then I guess you're out that money you paid for.
Okay. Ron?
I'll make a motion that we leave it up to Jeremy and Joe to set up a program with each one of them and then report back to council on what that program would be.
Okay.
I got a question. Are we gonna put some kind of a time limit on this? For the
I
next,
think-
if you're gonna give them 60 days, or you're gonna give them 30 or 90 or whatever it is? in this
That's the,
motion?
that's the
I
whole,
think you're just saying they'll figure that out.
They'll figure it out.
yeah.
Ron, I would like something like some kind of.
Right, a
Yeah.
written plan
Put
that,
that in them.
I would agree that the
want that
decision that we
written down.
make with those is that here's the agreement, have those sign that agreement. And then before we sign it, send it back, we'll report to you first, before we send an agreement back with them.
Pardon?
If you're okay with that. Before we even send an agreement back, to make sure you guys are okay with it. Because I think every case is gonna be a little bit different.
Yep.
So, and in every case, they might need another one might get rid of it right away, and the other one might need 30 days or 90 days, based on their needs.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Could I get a second, please?
I'll second it.
Kim, second. Roll call.
Kim Bronikowski,
Aye.
Ron Dahl,
aye.
Dee Donlevy,
Aye.
Bob LeBrecq,
Aye.
Casey Soul,
Aye.
Lori Stenstrup,
Aye.
Dan Zeller,
Aye.
Daryl Anderson.
Okay, moving on to 10, discussion, action, recommendation on the following new business. Recommendation from Finance Committee on A, approval of accounts payable for the month of July in the amount of $538,569.94. Payroll for the month of July in the amount of $193,209.24, and other financial reports as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the accounts payable.
I'll second.
Second, roll call.
Ron Dahl.
Aye.
Dee Donlevy.
Aye.
Bob LeBrecq.
Aye.
Casey Soul.
Aye.
Lori Stenstrup.
Aye.
Dan Zeller.
Aye.
Daryl Anderson. Kim Branakowski.
Okay, moving on to 10B. Recommendation from the Finance Committee, approval of 2024 carryover requests.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second it.
Dan, second. Roll call.
Dee Donlevy.
Aye.
Bob LeBrecq.
Aye.
Casey Soul.
Aye.
Lori Stenstrup.
Aye.
Dan Zeller.
Aye.
Daryl Anderson. Kim Branakowski. Ron Dahl.
Aye.
Moving on to 10C, recommendation from Board of Public Works, approval of an ordinance regarding revisions to the government and administration ordinance in the municipal code of ordinance for the City of Ocano Board of Public Works members' appointment terms. Have that in your packet. Can I get a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve it.
Dan,
I'll second it.
Daryl, second. Roll call.
Bob LeBrecq.
Aye.
Casey Soul. Lori Stenstrup.
Aye.
Dan Zeller.
Aye.
Daryl Anderson.
Aye.
Kim Branakowski. Ron Dahl.
Aye.
Dee Donlevy.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to 10D, recommendation from Board of Public Works, approval of bid for Bridge Street and Merrill Lane project. Jeremy?
You had two bids for the Bridge Street Merrill Lane reconstruction project. Two bids, one was from MCC out of Appleton for $189,337, and your second was from Northeast Asphalt in the amount of $196,541. Both contractors are reputable. We've worked with both. MCC is obviously the low bid by almost $7,000, and that's who I would recommend for the project.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve MCC per Jeremy's recommendation.
I'll second that.
Kim, second. Roll call.
Casey Soul.
Aye.
Lori Stenstrup.
Aye.
Dan Zeller.
Aye.
Daryl Anderson.
Aye.
Kim Branakowski. Ron Dahl.
Aye.
Dee Donlevy.
Aye.
Bob LeBrecq.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to 10E, recommendation from Board of Public Works, approval of engineering agreement for Porter Ave reconstruction. Jeremy?
We got two agreements that went out. One was from Mead and Hunt, and the other was from Robert E. Lee for the reconstruction of Porter Ave for the new development over there. We had the two agreements. They're pretty similar, obviously. The only difference is you're going to see that Mead and Hunt overall, depending on a plot of survey, which is going to be needed for the extension of the right-of-way between Congress and roughly Adams Street, Adams Street, to make sure that we have enough road right-of-way to get the utilities in there. And that property would be coming from Al's property, Al Warren's property on the east side of the road. And then possibly a couple of DNR permits and wetland mitigation that could be done. But Mead and Hunt would be roughly about $4,000 cheaper than Robert E. Lee. Again, we've worked with both engineers. They're both reputable. I don't have an issue with either one of them. Robert E. Lee is the engineer for Al, so he's doing all their site plans that are over there now. So would it make sense to go with Robert E. Lee? Sure, but if you're going to be saving $3,500, then I would go with Mead and Hunt. That's your decision, but I don't have an issue either way. They're both reputable engineers, and they both would do a good job on that project.
Any questions for Jeremy?
For the Mead and Hunt versus Robert E. Lee. Robert E. Lee is the one that's gonna be going for Al Moran right now, you said, or? he's
No,
gonna-
Robert E. Lee is.
Robert E.
Lee
Lee's.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they've done,
Contractor for
yeah,
them.
they're the contractor for them, so they're doing all their site work.
Is it better to go with a different contractor than for us, so it's checks and balances on the other one?
It could be. I mean, you might find that, I'm not saying they would do it, but you could find out that Robert E. Lee maybe could be hiding some of their cost
If they cut
on that
corners
side
or
of the city
whatever?
side.
and- Yeah, or if, I'm thinking if they cut corners and this guy Mead kind of finds it and says, this isn't done right. I'm just thinking 2 eyes might be better than 1 set.
Yeah. Either way, we're still gonna have to work with Robbie and Lee. I mean, I wouldn't disagree with you because they're doing all the site plans on that project, so we're gonna have to work with them for the type of utilities they want into that site, whether it's, you know, whether it's an 8-inch water main, whether it's an 8-inch sewer main, whether they need a, if we're working on a detention pond, you know, site storage, all that stuff. Again, it does make sense, but again, I'm okay either way.
Okay. Any other questions for Jeremy? Todd? Yes?
When does he need a decision by to decide on which one?
I would like a decision tonight, because we want to get going on the planning for that. You know, obviously you've got the DNR meetings, is obviously the thing that we want to get started on, the site planning. And obviously you want to get those plans out. You want to bid them out, I would say at least by the end of January for that road. If you start waiting too long, again, then you're worrying about competitive bidding. You know, you want competition in your bid a project out because you're gonna get good bids. If you wait too long and everybody's got projects for the year, then typically your contracts are gonna go up. And you kinda wanna try to avoid that.
Bob?
I mean, I have a question on the summary of fees for Robert E. Lee, it's the same way for me in the front. But they have like $3,500 here for bidding services? What does that mean? Are they charging the city for their bidding on this
Because
project?
they get all the bidding documents put together for
The companies that they're gonna need?
so when it goes out to bid, they put all those bidding documents together. So sometimes bidding documents are part of the contractual price and they don't show it. Obviously, Robert Lee is showing it broken down. You get that.
Just one.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions for Jeremy? If not, could I have a motion to approve?
Well, first you gotta decide.
You gotta decide which one.
Yeah.
I guess if you had to say, Jeremy, I mean, you're our expertise in this, what one are you wanting us to go with? You're the one that has to work with these people.
I guess if you want to move a little bit quicker on it, it would be Robbie Lee, only because they were doing the site work for L, and they've already done all the elevations in that area. So they've already done all the survey work as far as all the sanitary goes, the storm goes, water goes. They've done the majority of that work already. So it's going to it's going to move quicker going with Robert E. Lee. But again, if you want to save $3,500 out of there, you can do that. But you're talking probably a project that's going to be about, with engineering, you're probably looking probably on the higher end of $600,000 to $650,000 for that project. On the high end. I don't like to say a low end because then I look bad.
And that dollar amount could be with either contractor.
Correct.
D, you had-
But again, Robbie E. Lee has the majority of that work done already.
But they're still charging us for it.
But there's still charges.
$2,500 they got built into charges for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I guess the question I have, Jeremy, where you have worked with both these companies before, what about long-term with did their product hold up? Did we have a lot of problems? Was there a lot of rework or anything needed to be done with these companies?
No, I think that the engineering is not the biggest concern. Sometimes you gotta make sure that when we're putting our contractual documents put together before they go to bid, that we read those real close to make sure that we're getting what we want out of that contract, certain things, and that's something that I would review. Basically what happens is the biggest concern is the contractor. So once you get a contractor, that's the work that you're overseeing. We don't pay for that because we do all the oversight ourselves between Matt and myself. We do all the inspections just because otherwise it's going to cost you tens of thousands of dollars if you're to hire the engineer to come in here and do that inspection daily. So we take care of that by ourselves.
any other questions? Daryl?
If things shouldn't, I mean, stuff happens. If it shouldn't work out, would it be more beneficial just to have the one instead of having two people pointing fingers at each other that it's your fault or it's your fault?
Yeah.
We're only dealing with one person.
Correct. Sometimes it's a little bit easier in that way because when you're dealing with a large development, there can be confusion on, like you said, he said, she said that, I want it this size and it's not that size. Or if it's Robert E. Lee, he already knows what the developer wants and he already knows what he's getting from the city end. So you avoid that possibly.
Okay, and any other
It's a hard
questions?
one.
Can I make a motion that we let Jeremy get in?
I'm not the
D,
That's mean, Kim.
The other question I have for you, Jeremy, that either of these companies that have done projects, have either of them really run significantly over what their bids were?
No.
Okay.
No. No. The only time you typically would see them go over if there was something that the DNR wanted extra that we missed. And that's not really a fault of anybody, it's just that the DNR, you know, whether we're working too close to a wetland and they want a larger mitigation done, which can get costly sometimes, but no, they
so I
haven't.
need a motion. Pick one.
To
We need a motion
approve,
to hire-
to approve one of the contracts.
Well, I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion based on what I'm hearing to go with Robert E. Lee to make one contractor, one knows everything.
Okay,
I'll second that.
okay, roll call?
Lori Stenstrup.
Aye.
Dan Zeller.
No.
Daryl Anderson.
Aye.
Kim Barnikowski.
Aye.
Ron Dahl.
Aye.
Dee Don Levy.
Aye.
Bob LeBrecq.
Aye.
Casey Soul.
Aye.
Good discussion.
Number 11,
Before we call for that, could I just make a comment? I just want to revert back to Pete's comment when he had said you've been reaching out to someone to get answers on things. I guess in fairness to the department heads that you're reaching out to, and in fairness to the citizens that are trying to get an answer, what do you feel is reasonable for someone to wait for a call back or response back? Because again, if you're trying to get resolution on something, you're trying to work with the city to do this, and you're not getting a response back, that's extremely frustrating.
should be right away. I mean,
Business
it's,
day, 2 business days, I mean.
it should be at least a minimum or max of
I
2
realize-
business days.
I realize that they're extremely busy too,
Right.
so in fairness to them, but again, they're trying to resolve, so.
In fairness to the department heads, though, they were waiting some for this to come to you tonight to get
I
some
don't
direction.
know. I don't know, but I mean, you can't, that is so generic. You don't know what conversations have went on. You don't know what questions have been asked. You don't know what projects are going on. So to say that
Well, I'm
he didn't respond timely enough when I know my department heads respond
I'm
quickly.
just looking for reasonableness. In business etiquette, usually.
And we
you know,
do,
2
we
weeks.
do. I think you should have a conversation with Joe directly about
Okay.
that.
Okay? Jeremy?
Can I just add one more thing? I just forgot to under my correspondence. We are going to be dedicating the pavilion out at Hopewood. I did get the dedication placard board made up for John Bosted Jr. I'm going to be reaching out to him just to see what's a good time for him. When I get that date, I'll just reach out to everybody. If you can make it, great. If you can't, not a big deal, but I just want to let you know that's going to take place in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And then that pavilion will be up and ready for renting out along with the other shelters.
Okay, number,
I'm sorry,
Yes,
one
Steve.
last question. We had this in our packet. Is this just for review for the next meeting?
this is for review.
Okay.
And this got to go to the PFC before we get to approve it or disapprove it.
Motion to adjourn.
Darrell,
All in favor?
all in favor, say aye. Opposed, motion carried to adjourn.